Okay, Kaouthar, we would like to hear from you.
What do you want to hear from me?
I want to hear your story, and then we'll tell you a few more things afterwards. Can you share a bit about what, I introduced you before, and you work at the university as a professor, and you also run your organization on gender capital.
Yes.
And how did you arrive at that, from Tunis to Amsterdam? What was your journey?
I am born, I grew up in Tunisia, and it's an Arab Muslim culture where from a very young age, it's very much like inside of the house, women could do a lot. Outside, we were allowed nothing. And the reason was it's because you are a girl and he's a boy. And I was like, what is this? Sorry, shitty system. I don't like this. But it's everywhere the same. So I thought I will make sure focus is I get my degree and then I'm going to go to Paris. I study at the Sorbonne. I'm going to live in Europe. They are free. They have democracy. And then I don't have this problem anymore. So I went to Europe, I studied at the Sorbonne, and then I realized that's still the same problem. It's a little bit lighter. But because, honestly, as a child, I thought like in Europe, they are all the women, they are presidents, and they are ministers, and they are leading the companies, and they are half-half, equal. And then I realized, no, that was not the case. So I had a period where I was completely depressed, because I thought like, if in Europe, with democracy, with economic wealth, with the freedom, and they couldn't reach that, what about the rest of the world living in dictatorship and poverty? And it was like hopeless. It was very painful. I was very angry. And then I decided, okay, I have to do something about it. So I decided also, I started teaching at university about gender, but also to compare systems, to make people aware. It's not only in Arab Muslim countries or in Africa or in Asia, it's everywhere. And it's like an epidemic, it's a virus. It's called patriarchal system, which is not necessarily the man. It's not the fault of the man. I think this is also something for me was very important and different with Western feminism. Men are victim like the women from the same system. The only thing is they have a certain role to play, the upper hand, and the women are playing the other role. But the system can also persist because the women are supporting the patriarchal system as well. It's not only the men. It's very unfair to always point at the men. So I started doing all this work at university about this. But the big change for me was when I became a mother. That was really like, bah! Because I was very ambitious, I was working very hard. I was also using a lot of my masculine skills. At the same time, I learned from a very young age a dance called in Arabic رقصة الإلهات, dance of the goddesses, which is always danced by women together to be what you said, to go inside. So I was having like a kind of schizophrenic life. So I was using this dance with women, training women, also in corporate, at work, everywhere, to get into their bodies. But me, myself, when I was at my work academically, I was into my brain, functioning with masculine qualities. And when I had my son, I remember after 3 months, I didn't realize after 3 months I had to go back to work. I was like, shit, what? I'm gonna leave a baby in the house and I'm gonna go back to work? Yes, because that's the law. I'm like, okay, that's the law. Then I follow the law. And then I go back to work, and I remember I was sitting in my office, and I was having these terrible things to cough, how do you call it?
Pump.
Yes, and I was sitting there, I felt like a cow. It's like, and I was like, my baby is at home, 3 months old. I am here, career, pumping like this. Why? Because I am like a man. Motherhood should not be in the way. I can do as much as men. I work like men. I have a baby, no problem. I pump. And I think, I am in Europe, this is emancipation, this is humiliation. Because there is a complete denial of the feminine body. That you are a woman, you have a feminine body, you have hormone, you have a completely different system. There is a complete ignorance, but I was ignoring it myself, of course. So I did like, okay, I have to prove I am very successful and ambitious, and anyway, I continue. Until, of course, after a while, I had a burnout. Okay, burnout, tack, knocked out. I didn't want nobody to know about my burnout because I was coaching people, I was on television. What would people think of me? Because I am teaching women empowerment, and here I am sitting home with a burnout. Let's not talk about the burnout. So, because I was doing the body work, I could recover very quickly from the burnout. After a few months, I went back to work, but I couldn't. I couldn't lie anymore. I couldn't conform. I couldn't deny. And then I thought I have to walk the talk. I have these women coming to me, like a lot of women, they come to me especially for private coaching where they are already at the top of their organizations. And they tell me, you know, my whole life I've been functioning like men, but now I reached the top, I can show, I can do it, everything, but I want to be myself. Can you please bring me back, not here, but into here? And then I think I'm teaching this to people and I'm not doing it myself. And I was on the way to a second burnout. So I thought before we get there, I need to stop and then to get out of the system because I loved my job. I like being an academic. I loved my students. I loved doing research. But the organization was so much in a masculine, conservative system. There was no space for innovation or authenticity or change. And then that's also something for me, it has to do about dignity. Maybe I can show you a film when I was, there is a documentary made about my work. And then when I was in Tunisia, like a moment when I really realized sometimes when you want to make your way, you have to stand alone. Maybe I have Roberto. So this is extract from the documentary who has been made about my work, and some of it also has been in Tunisia. And I am here filmed in a graveyard. It's in the graveyard that I learned first as a child about leadership. Because as a child, there was so much violence in my family, sometimes I couldn't bear it anymore. So I would run to the graveyard, and there I would kind of go inside to meditate, and then to come to what do I want in life? But I don't know, can we see it? I live life intensely, we work intensely, but also in one moment it's gone. If I go back to my work, and especially about feminine capital and women leadership, I always also say to women that, Hestia, are you willing to stand up alone? Because there is a moment where you have to, when you want to take the leadership and you want to be a pioneer and you want to change, there is a moment where you will stand alone. And you will have everybody against you. Because you are a pioneer, you bring something new. If you can stand that, go. If you cannot, don't do it. And this is what I learned here in the cemetery. If I cannot stand this, then I stop. And also by like, what is the worst thing that could happen? Because my mother always said, shut up, shut up, shut up, don't provoke him, he's gonna kill you one day. And then when I arrive here, I think like, okay, well, then he kills me. It's like, then when I look at here, and then I think like, okay, then I will be laying here. Is that so bad? No. You know? But then I would lay there with dignity.
Thank you.
And it was for me about the dignity of being a woman. When we are at work, we carry the responsibility to show to the world, I am a woman. And that should be treated with respect. I have something to offer to humanity. I want dignity. And if you cannot see it, then I'm going to make you see it whether you like it or not. So.
Fantastic. Yes. Thank you so much.
I am on time, no? You know, when I say something very quickly, when I arrived to Europe, I was so stressed about time. So I did all kinds of time management. And then in time management, I learned there is a time which they cannot, which endless, they call it even Arab time. I thought like, my God, I cannot do this. So I'm always on time now. I'm in Europe, I'm always on time. I'm very happy that I'm on time.